Welcome back to the Young Mind Podcast. Today we've got a very special guest. We're doing a morning episode. I never record this early, but I got a HVAC for Spire, Zach Young, and he's going to be telling us about his route going through trade schools and the benefits of taking a trade as opposed to going to college. So today we've got Zach Young. How's it going, man?
It's going pretty good.
I appreciate you pulling up. Got me up early this morning.
No problem.
So yeah, it seems like something you're very passionate about, trade schools, taking the trade profession as opposed to going to college. What made you get into this?
Kind of just the hands-on perspective of everything. I kind of struggled through high school, kind of with the academic side of things. I didn't have very good study skills, and knew kind of college wasn't my thing early on.
So you knew that college wasn't meant for you?
Yeah, I knew it. I knew I wouldn't succeed.
Okay.
So taking on those student loans really wouldn't be beneficial for me in the long run.
How'd that make you feel being in high school and knowing that college wasn't the route when a lot of high schools basically push college on people?
Kind of discouraged at first because, a lot of people say you need an education to be successful. And, whenever people are saying you need this to be successful in life, it kind of makes you think, well, if I can't get that, then am I going to be flipping burgers for the rest of my life?
Right.
So then when I found trade school and realized, man, I'm good at this. I can turn wrenches and, wow, this is easy for me. It made a world of difference. It actually helped a lot. And, most trade schools here, at least in St. Louis, no matter where you're from in St. Louis, North County, South County, St. Charles, offer a free trade school for high school students.
It's a huge benefit.
Oh, a huge benefit. That means 0 student loans. And you come out fully certified.
Sheesh. So you go to trade school and you walk out with a certification as opposed to a degree?
Yeah, you come out with a certification opposed to a degree. What that means is you're fully certified to work in the workforce. I came out with my EPA certification, all my NATE certifications, which means I could go out into the field and work. I could go out of high school and start making real money pretty quick. And in the trades industry, you're not going to be making big money right out of the gate because you're fresh out, you're green. Mm-hmm. And what that means is, in being green, is you don't really know anything yet. You may think you know some stuff because you were in school for 2 years, but you're going to learn more in the first 6 months out in the field than you did in those whole 2 years. Those 2 years are just giving you a foundation of what you're going to learn in your career.
Okay. So what do you usually start out as, fresh out?
Kind of a helper, parts runner. You're helping out the more experienced guys. Those more experienced guys are going to show you the ropes. They're going to show you how to do things, what real life experience is, because when you're in a classroom, you're in a controlled environment. The teacher knows what's going on. When you're going into people's houses, you're going into an unknown. Right. You don't know what's going on. And these guys are going to help you navigate that. Because if you mess something up in a classroom, it's a classroom. If you mess something up out in the field, that's somebody's house, it's somebody's property. It's a big deal.
Right. And if you mess it up, you probably got to go back and fix it, or you got to deal with it. If you mess something up big enough, you got to, the company has to pay for it. So it all really depends on the company you work for. I started out working for small mom and pop heating and cooling companies. Those are, in my honest opinion, the best ones to work for because they want to teach you. Mm-hmm. They want you to grow with them. But in my experience, I went up faster because I wanted to grow in my career quicker. So I put in applications quicker than most other guys, and I threw a Hail Mary applying at Spire. And when I got hired on, it was kind of like a saving grace. And to be honest, it's one of the best things that's probably happened to me. That's great to hear. So let's take a step back and go back to high school.
Okay.
So you said that it made you feel kind of like not a failure, but because you weren't going to take the college route, you were taking the trade route. How did you become aware of the trade route in high school? Because
I remember when they brought it up to me and my group of friends, we were all thinking college, so we didn't even think about trade schools. It was never on our radar.
So I come from a trades family. My dad is a airplane mechanic, and one of my mom's friend is actually in heating and cooling. So my mom actually brought it up to me. So when my mom brought it up to me, that's when I started looking into it more.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I looked into it more, then I took the test and got in and took kind of a tour of the school. I was either going to go for heating and cooling or programming. So when I chose heating and cooling, my mom was like, "Are you sure that's what you want to go for?" And I was like, "Yes." So that's kind of how I chose it. And I mean, once you kind of choose it, then the counselor accepts it and pushes you towards it and helps you out more. But you have to choose it. The counselor really doesn't help you with it. And so
Did a lot of your friends take the trade route, or were they staying in the high school?
a lot of them stayed in high school, but now, I graduated in 2016, so 4 years later, a lot more are coming around to the trades route.
What do you think we could do in the high schools to bring more awareness to the trade route? Because I feel a lot of people who aren't necessarily right for college feel like they have to go to college.
They need to really kind of look into it. They need to make sure that the trades are what they want, because it's not for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So you might think like, oh, I can do this, but it's long nights. It's hard work. I mean, it might sound easy, but I mean, it's a lot of sweat.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's not for everybody. But, I mean, if you can do it, if you have the work ethic and you have the drive to do it, I mean, it is a solid career. And I mean, and if you really want to get into it, the first thing you got to do is find a trade school that suits you. If you work days, like let's say you work, 9 to 5, find a trade school that can accommodate a night schedule so you can go to school at night. If you work a night schedule, like let's say you work at Amazon at night, find a trade school that can accommodate a day schedule.
Right.
So that's kind of how you do that.
Okay.
And then find a trade that suits you. My trade was heating and cooling, which I kind of call the jack of all trades, because we do a little bit of electrical, a little bit of sheet metal, a little bit of soldering. We do a little bit of everything.
Okay.
But also, if you want to work in construction, find a construction trade that fits what you want to do.
Can't you go to trade schools for nursing and IT stuff as well?
Yeah, all that stuff is considered a trade. So you can go to school for programming. You can go to school for computer hardware. You can go to even a trade is what's it called? Musical engineering.
Musical engineering? What's that?
The people who make beats and stuff.
Like audio engineering?
Yep.
Oh, that's crazy. That's
Yeah.
a trade school?
Yeah, actually, Nelly had a class in Vatterott for it for the longest
I
time.
remember hearing about that.
So yeah, that's considered a trade too.
Okay.
Yeah, nursing, MA school, all that stuff is considered a trade just because you have to be specialized. And in the trades, there's so much money that's just not publicized. And the way my mom describes it, and I think this is the best way to describe it, if you look at a prominent figure in the world, let's say a doctor or a lawyer, you consider them prominent, right?
Yeah, you would, yeah.
So the house they live in, it has to be built by construction workers, heating, cooling, electrical. The car they drive has to be maintained by mechanics and built by people in factories, which are also trades workers. To get to the hospital, they have to drive on a road, which is built by asphalt workers and highway crews. Mm-hmm. The hospital that they work in has to be built by construction workers. So all these prominent figures, their world kind of is built upon the backs of the trades. So pretty much anything that you look at in the world that has been built has been touched by some kind of tradesman, or all of them at some point. And I mean, if you like to travel too, I mean, truck drivers, that's a trade too.
Truck drivers make a lot of money.
They do. And I mean, it depends on what kind of truck driver you are. But yeah, I mean, they have very low expenses too, because a lot of them don't own any houses, because a lot of them live out of their trucks, because they're on the road most of the year.
Something you touched on earlier, back to like the high school, is the no student loan debt.
Yeah.
And tell me more. I know there's the A+ program. How can these high schoolers take advantage of the trade school route and not get into debt later?
So with the A+ program, there's either 2 years of a community college or 2 years of a trade school. So like your bigger trade schools like your Rankin, it doesn't really apply for, because that costs the same as a university. So that's about $20,000 a year. But like your, American trade schools, your State Technical College of Missouri, all those types of schools, it will cover it 2 years completely free.
And all you need is 2 years, or?
That's all you need is 2 years.
Sheesh. So you can get this certification
Yes.
in 2 years, be out in the workforce, making real money with no loan debt.
Yes.
That's amazing.
It's the most untouched gold mine in America, I would say. As a kid, I used to watch Mike Rowe. A lot of people participate in DECA in high school. He's a big contributor into the trades DECA. It's called Skills USA. He's a big contributor into Skills USA.
You told me you did that.
Yeah, I did that. I ranked 4th in the state of Missouri.
That's amazing.
In 2016.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So he's a big contributor in that in the national competition. So, and with that, I mean, what Mike Rowe was trying to do is all those dirty jobs that he was doing are all trades jobs that nobody wants to do. But all those trades, dirty jobs and stuff, make over $100,000 a year easy, because nobody wants to do them. So you have to pay so much.
Like sanitation workers and stuff.
Oh yeah, sanitation workers. I mean, they make a lot. I mean, any utility worker, we're gonna make pretty good money. Just base is around 80,000.
Wow.
So, and that's with no student loan debt.
Jeez. So you touched on the bigger universities like Vatterott. So when someone's picking a trade school to go to, what do you recommend that they look at to find the one that's right for them?
Credentials, job placement is a big one. Also, if you know anybody who's went to them, ask personally. Even, if they went there 20, 30 years ago. Ask, how it was. Because, it's like going to a university, going tour. Ask the actual students themselves,
right.
Because you can research a university all you want, but they're only going to show you, the good side of things. They're not going to show you, their ugly side.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of how I would say it is. Find the one that's right for you. Don't look for the, shiny one.
Where did you go?
I just went to a high school trade school.
Okay. So,
I only went to Lewis and Clark.
So when you graduated high school, you were able to just start working.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So I graduated and I immediately started working.
Okay, so you did the A+ route, went to the trade school, you graduated, and you said you worked at a mom and pop store.
I worked at a mom and pop heating and cooling place, and they treated me wonderfully. They taught me more than I could have ever learned in an actual school.
What was that experience like?
It was hard at first because I didn't really know anything. So it was kind of going in kind of like Bambi, like shaking legs, not really trying to find my footing.
What was your title? Your first title?
Helper. Install helper. So it was a lot of manual labor, moving systems in and out of houses. I was pretty much the guy that got bossed around. Hey, do this. Hey, do that.
But you were learning.
Yeah, so everything you watched, you have to pretty much take in. That was the best experience for me. And then my second job actually was a commercial heating and cooling company, which was even more experience because it was working on big units.
How did you get these jobs? How did you get the first job?
The first job was actually one of my best friend's dad is the head groundkeeper at Lindenwood.
Really?
Yep. So
at that time, Matheny had a contract at Lindenwood. That's the name of the company I work for. And he got me a job. He knew the owners there, so he got me a job there. And the second one I actually met the guy on break at McDonald's. And he put a word into his boss, and that's how I got the job there.
So I guess my question is, with these trades, how do you prove that you're a standout employee?
Show up on time and ready to work.
Okay.
So if you show up on time, that's a big one. Because if you don't show up on time, for one, you could be the best worker in the world. But if you're not reliable, that's the biggest downfall. Now, if you show up on time and you're a crap worker, that's another downfall. But if you're on time and you at least, show that you're trying to learn, companies will work with you and try to get you to the level where they want you. And that's hard work and integrity is
integrity.
That's the two biggest things that companies are looking for.
So from when you started to where you are now, what was the learning curve like?
It was pretty big. Because in a high school trade school, they don't have the funding like some of the colleges do. Some of the colleges have big units that they could show you how to work on and, all that stuff. So I was only working on, residential systems. So I didn't get to see all the big stuff like other people got to see. But I have a great, customer rapport. I can talk to people. So that's a huge thing because especially in the heating and cooling aspect, we're very customer service based because we want you to keep calling us back. So if you keep calling us back, we keep making money. Mm-hmm. So that was a huge upside at least for me. So that's one thing that helped me get the jobs. And then my learning curve was just watching. I'm a very visual learner. Once I see it done, I can usually replicate it.
So when you worked with the mom and pop, was that more residential or more commercial?
That was more residential.
Okay. What was the shift like going from residential to commercial?
That was a big one because everything on commercial is massive. It's all on roofs and it's all condensed. The biggest thing is the drive time though, because everything with the mom and pop was, maybe a 10, 15-minute drive.
It was local.
Yeah, everything with the commercial was a 4 or 5 hour drive.
4 or 5 hours?
Yeah, I would start here, and then my first job would be, down in Poplar Bluff.
Oh.
Or up in Hannibal or Jeff City. Okay. So it would just be all over the place.
Damn.
Yeah. So that's kind of why I wanted to get out of that one, is the drive times were ridiculous.
So when you first started, were you ever discouraged at any point? Like, I made a mistake, I'm not made for this. Did you ever have that doubt when you first started?
No, because I had good bosses and good leadership, like good mentors through my career. So they wouldn't let me do that. They would, when they saw me make a mistake, they would correct it, but they would correct it in a good way.
So they would coach you well.
Yeah. I had good mentors.
Are you still in communication with the people you started with?
Oh, yeah. I'm in communications with most of them, actually. We still hang out at, before COVID, we still go hang out at bars and stuff like that, hang out together. Because really in this industry, once you make friends, you keep them. Mm-hmm. Unless, they're just awful, then you just stay away. But yeah, most of my mentors I still keep in contact with.
So to where you are now, tell me about your current role and what do you like about it? What don't you like about it?
I really like the money aspect. I like my hours. Sometimes I don't like my hours because it's long and sometimes I'm not at home as much as I'd like. But
I mean, it's fulfilling.
What's your role exactly again?
I'm a service and installation technician.
Service and installation technician.
So I run I run a lot of emergency calls, turn-ons, turn-offs, and meter changes.
So when people smell that rotten egg smell in their house,
Yes.
they call you.
They call the gas company. The gas company dispatches me or one of my other employees out to take care of it.
That's got to be a stressful job.
It can be, but usually it's not. I mean, I've seen many of them, so it used to be when I first started. When I first got out on the street on my own, it was a little stressful because you're new. You're out on your own. All the responsibilities on you.
Yeah, like what was your first call like?
It was a little stressful because it was my first one out on my own. And now I've been doing it a while, so it's another call. I'm like, okay, let's go see what's going on.
So you know what to do. Someone says they smell a potential gas leak. You go in, know what to do.
I know what to do as soon as I walk in. I mean, every job has their little curveballs or whatever, but I mean, you get into a routine whenever you get to a job. You know what you got to do and how you got to do it. It's pretty cut and dry. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, everybody has their own way of doing it. You gotta have to find your way. Okay. That's what's good about the trades is everybody has their own way. You kind of adapt to your own way of doing things.
I'm really just trying to get a firm understanding of this. How often do the systems change? Is it like you know it and you know it forever, or are there subtle changes that come with time?
There's always going to be changes because we're in an ever-changing field. Mm-hmm. Furnaces change, air conditioners change, codes change. Everything's always changing. But the basis of what we know stays the same. My routine will probably stay the same forever unless something drastic happens. But, I mean, pretty much, it's an ever-changing field. You're ever learning. So you're pretty much learning 24/7 because new stuff is coming out every day. New codes, new equipment, just new. That's why computers can't do my job. Because there's something new every single day. You see something new every single day.
What are some of the key benefits to taking the trade route as opposed to, the college route, the white collar route?
Unions.
Unions.
My personal opinion is the unions.
Tell me more. I was in a union when I worked at UPS for a little bit, so I know a little bit of the benefits. But tell me more about.
I have a pension. I have a 401k, health, dental, vision. I have protection in case anything goes wrong. I have my union backing, which I find very useful. Some people might think, unions, I have to pay a due. But I like the security that comes with the union. I like, my union is a company union. Kind of like how yours was with UPS. It's a company union. Mm-hmm. But if you're not in a company union, like you're with the fitters or sheet metal workers, Teamsters,
is IBU one, like IBEW?
Yeah, IBEW, the local one, anything like that, then they'll help you once you get in and you're in there. They'll help you find jobs. They will place you in jobs.
Oh, that's awesome.
They'll get you schooling. Unions like that are very beneficial. Now, like mine is a company union, so it's just my company's union. So it's just for Spire employees. So, service technicians and garage workers, people who work for Spire, C&M people. That's pretty much who it's for. Now, other unions are for a more broader scale of people. Because, like I said, my father works for American Airlines. Their union is massive. It's nationwide. Oh, yeah. So, because he works as a mechanic, so his union is, ginormous. Our union's a bit smaller.
One thing that people would complain about with the union is paying those dues. That seems like something pretty stupid to complain about, though. You got to pay dues. It's once a month. It's a little bit of money here and there.
for the money you make, it's not going to be. It's if you're complaining about like $135 a month, I mean, for the benefits you get from a union.
That's what I'm saying. The benefits that the union provides, just pay the money.
Yeah, just pay the money. I mean, that's. If you ever ask a union guy, do you support the right to work? We're all going to tell you no.
Yeah, okay. I was going to ask you that. There's always a proposition to make Missouri a right to work state.
No, it would cause division in every company that has a union.
So what proposition is that?
So right to work is pretty much, from my understanding, I haven't read the bill, but from what my understanding is it's if you work in a company that has a union, so let's say like Spire, you don't have to pay your union dues if you don't want to. So how that could cause division is, let's say me and you are working in the company. I want to pay my dues and you don't. You don't pay your dues, but I do. But we both get the same benefit from the union.
So I still have a union rep protecting me and everything, and I didn't pay for...
Yes.
Oh, that sucks.
So, but then you can see how that'd cause animosity between me and you.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be upset with you because you're not paying into the union anymore, but I am. So that'd make me just, despise you a little bit.
I don't like that.
See, that's why we're so against right to work. And they name these bills to sound better than what they are, is what I think. Because right to work, you're thinking, oh, somebody's taking away my right to work. But it's not like that. It's pretty much a way to try to disband unions.
That's what they're trying to do?
Yeah.
Why?
So, unions they don't really take away, but they limit control of big corporations.
I could see that.
Because if a big corporation can have their way, they're going to pay you less money for more work. With a union, the union's going to make sure they pay you more money for less work, or more money for equal amount of work, and give you better benefits, and treat you better as an employee.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I definitely do.
So that's kind of how I see it.
Yeah, when I worked at UPS, the union, you could tell the employees banded together.
Yeah.
And everyone looked out for one another.
Exactly. Because you're a brother and sisterhood. Mm-hmm. It's not just, 55 people who are only out for themselves.
I'm pro-union. I'm definitely pro-union.
I mean, once you hear about it, you're okay. But some people they're just not. Because it's not how they were raised. I was raised in a union household.
My dad and my brother both do engineering. My dad was an IBEW, so he always told me to vote no against right to work. And I never really understood why, but I always knew we got to have unions.
He probably had you sign the petition.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were out there hard having people sign the petition for right to work, against right to work. So,
dang.
It's important to us as union workers, and I mean, Missouri is a very middle of the ground state because we're smack dab in the middle of the country. So we're not really north, which is very heavy union. We're not really south, which is very heavy non-union. So if you look at it, just south of Missouri, you're not going to find any unions really. If you look north of Missouri, you're going to find unions everywhere.
They used to make a lot of cars up north, right?
Yes, like GM, Ford, all of them were up north.
Okay.
So that's why they call Detroit Motor City, because that's where all the car plants were. Yeah. That's where
Chrysler.
Yep, that's where all the big unions were too. Unions up north were huge.
So are they dying down, or are they still pretty strong?
I'm a big union advocate. I like my unions because, like I said, I like for the laborers, the low man, to have their voices and their, I wouldn't really say their rights, but to be treated correctly. Not to, have just a little bit of, just a little bit of respect. No, we respect you as an employee. We're going to pay you correctly for what you do.
As it should be.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems like some of the pros of working in trades is you get the union, the pension, the 401k, all those benefits. You get good money, it seems.
Oh, yeah.
No student loan debt. What are some other additional perks of working in the trade?
You know how to fix your own stuff. You don't have to pay somebody else to do it.
That's so big. My dad's a big proponent of that. Like, learn how to fix the toilet. Learn how to fix these things. You don't have to call someone. Like a plumber. Plumbers make good money.
Oh, yeah. Plumbers make good money. I mean, I know how to fix my own heating and cooling equipment. So now, once you learn how to do that, you're going to realize all your friends are going to know you know how to do that. So all your friends are going to call you and tell you, hey, man, could you come and fix my stuff for me? Mm-hmm. So that's another big thing. Your friends are going to ask favors. That's a big one.
I remember when we had our conversation before we recorded, you said recession-proof jobs.
Oh, 100%.
Dig into that.
So, like my job picked up during the pandemic. Just for the simple fact is we're a utility. But everybody's going to need, so like electricians, everybody's going to need electrical in their house. Plumbers, nobody's going to want sewage in their house. Everybody's going to want to be able to flush their toilets. Heating and cooling. We live in Missouri. We get extreme hots and extreme colds. Right. Everybody's going to need heating and air. Construction, everybody needs houses. Or, buildings to live in. Truck drivers, product is always going to need to be moved. All of these trades, a lot of them are pretty much recession proof. I'm not saying all of them are, because some of them aren't, but if you look into it, a lot of them are pretty recession proof for the most part. You will have a job.
And you have a skill too.
Yeah, you have a skill, so you can, even if you do get laid off, you can go and do stuff on the side. I know construction workers that, get laid off and they'll go build decks for people and make money doing that. They'll go in, redo somebody's basement and make money doing that. You can do, side hustles.
Because it's a skill that a lot of people don't have, and they don't want to put the work in to learn how to do it.
And a lot of people are scared to do it, because you got to think, if you own a house and you want to redo your basement, but you don't want to mess it up, because if you mess it up, then you got to pay somebody to come back and fix your mess up. Mm-hmm. So you want it done right the first time. Mm-hmm. So that's why you pay somebody to do it right the first time. I mean, because I've seen some DIY stuff go real bad real fast.
You've seen it in your work experience?
Oh, yeah. I've seen some people, doing stuff. I'm like, what are you doing? I know I saw one chick. She tried to string up bug zappers in her room because she thought it looked like those, like...
Bug zappers?
Yeah, because she didn't want to go and buy those, like, those, like, TikTok lights, like the LED ones that you got in here.
Yeah.
She wanted, like, stuff like that. She just didn't want to go buy them, so she hung up 4 bug zappers in her room.
That ain't the smartest.
No, it's not. She called me because she had a CO problem, and I'm like, it's from the 4 bug zappers.
A CO?
Yeah, carbon monoxide.
She couldn't breathe?
No, so carbon monoxide is from stuff burning, and she actually had bugs in her house too, so the bugs were getting zapped. So I guess the bug zappers were working. But yeah, they were putting off CO from zapping bugs. So it set off her detector. And I'm just like, lady, you can't have bug zappers inside.
That's 4 of them?
4.
That's so stupid.
1 in each corner.
So let's have some full transparency.
Okay.
What's the dark side of working trade? Like, what are some deterrents?
Some deterrents are you're going to stink every day during the summer. You are going to come home and smell like a foot.
But that's working, though. Like, that's an honest day's work.
That's an honest day's work, but your significant other's going to hate you.
Yeah, I can see that.
Your significant other's going to hate you. You're going to like overtime, no matter what. You're going to see that money rolling in, and you're going to want to work every ounce of overtime you can.
Okay, let's talk about that. I know in corporate, sometimes they're really against you working overtime.
Oh, not. Well, you got to realize, every ounce of overtime you work in my industry, that's more money in the company's pocket, too. So they're paying you. Yes, you get paid a lot of money to work overtime, but all that overtime you work is putting more money in their pocket. So yeah, we're working, hours upon hours upon hours of overtime. You got to realize what kind of strain that also will put on a relationship. Because if you're working, 12 hours a day, 12, 16 hours a day, your significant other's not going to like that.
At all.
So, but you're going to see all that money coming in and you're not going to want to stop. It's intoxicating.
Does it take a strain on your body?
Yeah, I mean, after a while you're going to realize like you're going to come home sore every day. You're going to, well, not every day, but you're going to come home tired. But then you take a couple days off of doing that and you're going to reset. Because I know when I first started, I'd worked a week of doubles. So a week of 7 in the morning to midnight.
Boy.
Just one full week of just doing that. 7 in the morning to midnight. And by Friday, well, that Friday I worked 7 in the morning to 4:30 at night. And I slept for like 13 hours straight the next day. Like from Friday to Saturday night. And I just wanted to see if I could do it. Because we have a guy at Spire who does it constantly. This guy does it every week. He makes the most amount of money out of all of us. But he does it every single day. He will work from 7 in the morning till midnight. Every single day.
Have you seen some older guys at organizations with worn down bodies?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen guys at my company who, walk out with new knees, new shoulders, 2 new knees, 2 new shoulders, physical therapy, just, come out more metal than man.
Is there anything you can do to, like keep your body going longer? Or is it just the nature of the job?
I mean, you can use knee pads and, use tools correctly. But, I mean, sometimes you're young and stupid sometimes and think you're Superman.
Yeah.
I mean, you know it, I know it. Nobody ever thinks, oh, that's going to be me in 20 years. You just look at it, oh, I'm good right now. But, I mean, me and you both played sports. So, our bodies are kind of already wearing down a little bit. My knees snap, crackle, pop, walking upstairs. Your body wears down, but everybody's does eventually.
So I know in our previous conversation you said that a lot of people are starting to retire.
Yeah.
And there's less young people coming into trades.
Oh, 100%.
What can we do? What can we do about that?
Well, one, we have to put it out there like it's something that they want to do. Like, make it more appealing to them. Because as of right now, if I'm looking at it, like, I got a younger sister who is in 6th grade. What she's looking at, I mean, I think she's more sensible than most of them, but she's looking at, like, nursing, so, which is good. That's, a trade that I can be like, okay, that's an okay one. But I see some of her friends, they're like, oh, I want to be TikTok famous, or,
oh, wow.
Stuff like that, and I'm like, that's good and all, but find something that's going to make you a reliable amount of money. Kind of get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Have a plan that's actually going to make you money, not just internet fame.
Yeah, those pseudo celebrities. That's right.
Exactly.
What's the average age of the people you work with in your industry?
In my industry, the age range is everywhere. Cause
you're 22, right?
I'm 23.
Okay.
So I know people who are 18 in the industry, and I know people who are 70 in the industry.
There's 70-year-old people still doing it?
Oh, yeah. Those are the most knowledgeable people you'll ever meet. Grumpiest, but knowledgeable.
That's amazing they're still able to do it at that age.
Yeah, those are the people who will throw a wrench at you, too, though. You might have to, act like you're in dodgeball there for a minute. But if you can learn from them, they're the most knowledgeable people you'll ever meet. Because they will show you the quickest, easiest, and most non-destructive way to fix something. And, they'll do it sitting down.
It's amazing how much knowledge older people have.
Oh yeah. It's crazy how much people don't want to listen to them. I will sit down and listen to them talk for hours if I can.
It's
Just-
so much knowledge.
Because everything that they can tell you is just something that is just so, it's so long that, you know, they took to gain all that knowledge. Why let it go to waste?
You can't.
I take something from everybody that I've worked with, and I try to incorporate it into how I work now, whether it's good or bad. That's how I take it with everybody that I've worked with through my whole career, from when I started out in the field to where I am now. Take something that you've done, you know, take something that you've worked with somebody, whether it's good or bad, and incorporate it into how you work now. Whether it's, hey, I like how this guy did that, or, ooh, I don't like how that guy did that.
Yeah.
And kind of mold your own way into doing something.
You got to learn. You got to,
Oh, yeah.
whether it's good or bad, you got to take something away from it.
Oh, yeah, and forever learn, too. If you see, even like, when I start training guys, I'm going to see how they, if I see the way they're doing something better, learn from that. Because, you know, the younger generation, they might have better ideas than we do. You can't, you know, new is not always bad. That's what I got to say. You know, because I think that's the problem with some of the older generation, too, is they think new is bad. New is not always bad. It's different. It's not always bad, though.
Yeah. One thing I've seen is people who are caught in their ways and only do thing A to B.
Oh, yeah.
And don't even think about C and D. That's they get stuck and they get left behind.
Oh, yeah.
So like you said, when you're training someone, you see that they're doing something a different way that could help. Learning from that instead of shutting it down.
Oh, yeah. Maybe redirecting them a little bit if you see something wrong with it, but not shutting it down completely because you see potential in it.
Mm-hmm. You got to learn.
Exactly.
Yeah, because you get caught in your ways and do it this way your whole life. There's definitely a different way that you can do it.
Oh, yeah. And you see, that's why companies will hire younger guys, is because they're not set in their ways yet. They don't have a set way of doing something, so they can mold them.
Mm-hmm.
The way I like to describe it is they're still a wet piece of clay. The older guys are already hard. They're set in their ways. You're not going to break that.
Yeah.
But a new guy fresh out of school is still, you know, a wet piece of clay. They can mold it into what they want it to be. They can make it how they want it.
Yeah.
Instead of, you know, a 55-year-old who's been doing this since he was 16.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been doing the same thing for 40 years. You're not going to break that cycle, no matter what you say to him.
Before we wrap this up, what is your PSA to high schoolers, people of our generation, to get into trades and to think about that route? Not necessarily take it, but to at least consider it before they think about a career move.
If you're in high school, I would look into it. I would take a tour. I would at least consider it, because you can always learn it, and if you can learn it for free, take that opportunity, because what they teach you, they can't unteach you. So once you learn it, they can never take that away from you.
That's a great way to put it.
And I mean, use it as your backup plan. Go to trade school, because it counts as 3 letter grades for a year. So if you get an A in trade school, that counts as 3 A's.
Oh.
So.
And so you can graduate high school with that trade certificate and still go to university?
Yeah.
Oh.
So you can count it as a backup plan. So you can do that, and still, but once they teach it to you, they can't unteach it. Once you learn it, you can't unlearn it. That you have that forever. So let's say your plan A, let's say you want to go to business school, medical school, you know, go get a law degree, something like that, but that doesn't work out. You still have a trade to fall back on.
And you, when we had our previous conversation, you said that your organization was willing to pay you to go back to school.
That my organization says if I want to go back to school for something that pertains to the company, I can. They'll pay up to $6,500 a year for me to go back to school. I would say for any high schooler that's even kind of interested, talk to your counselor. See what you can do. See if you can, you know, it's coming up on that time where you have to, you know, start submitting the deadlines. Go talk to your counselor. Go, you know, talk to your parents. See if they know anybody who's in a trade. Find somebody who knows something about a trade.
Don't just brush it off. At least consider it.
Yeah, consider it. If you're into computers, look into programming because that's the wave of the future is computers.
They're not going anywhere.
They're not going anywhere. They're just going to keep getting more advanced.
So, yeah, actually, I do want to talk about something before we wrap this up. You did say that you had some friends who went to college and now are going to the trade route.
Yeah.
And I went to college, went to Lindenwood. I've been working for 4 years, and I've been it's just the same, more of the same at all the organizations I've worked at. What are you hearing from your friends that are going to the trade route?
They went to college. They really can't find work in their fields because it's such a competitive industry. They went for business. So it's such a competitive industry that they can't really find jobs because it's, like I said, it's so competitive that. So they decide to go to trade school. And I'm like, good for you guys. You guys are a little bit late to the party, but better late than never.
Right.
And, most of them are in school right now and working in the trades.
Damn.
Before they even have all their certifications.
So you can still get a job even without the certification?
Yeah, because you work under the other guy.
It's something to consider because you got to realize we're still young.
Oh, yeah. I know guys who get in super late in life just because, midlife crisis or just, corporate life isn't for them anymore. So it's always an option because it's a part of the world that's never going to go away.
Something I wanted to ask you is, what is it like having a job where you're always going to different places, you're always on the go?
I like it because I like meeting new people. I like interacting with new people. I like hearing their stories, hearing what they're, talking to them. So I like it. For somebody who doesn't like people, it might not be for you.
Dude, man, you make trades sound appealing. You really do.
That's how they are, though. They're appealing to a lot of people. I mean, some people will be like, no, that still ain't for me, but it's a lot of hard work. It's not all that and then some, but it's a lot of hard work, long nights. You're going to get dirty, you're going to get sweaty, you're going to be out in the cold, you're going to be out in the heat, you're going to be out in the rain. But it's all worth it at the end of the day.
Last question. Ideally, do you see yourself moving up to management or do you see yourself staying on the technician side?
Technician side for a long time. I like doing what I'm doing now. I don't want to go to management anytime soon.
What's the manager side look like?
It's a lot of dealing with us. It's a lot of helping us make calls that we don't feel comfortable making. It's a lot of dealing with like the backside of us.
Do they ever follow you on a job, or do they ever, like, how do they know you're doing a good job?
They'll come out and do inspections on us and stuff like that, but it's very rare.
I appreciate you pulling up, but before I get you off, you got a Lions hoodie on. What's up with your team this year?
The garbage. The garbage. That's all I gotta say. I can't make any excuses. I hope they lose out and take Trevor Lawrence, but that's about it for that.
You're jumping ship on Matt Stafford?
No, I hope he stays a couple more years and builds up Trevor Lawrence. But I think he's a little old right now. He's kind of worn down. Or they need to just dump their whole line and try to steal the line from the Cowboys. But
man, the Cowboys, they got everything they need and they still can't win games.
Yeah, I think they just need to dump their whole organization.
My college roommate was a big Lions fan, and after Megatron left, he was just like distraught.
See, I think after Megatron left, they got better.
You think so?
Well, because he was like a Randy Moss. So what happened when you had like Randy Moss on the field when he was in his prime was you had to get the ball to Randy Moss.
Yeah.
Or like a Brandon Marshall and Jay Cutler situation. Mm-hmm. You had to get the ball to Brandon Marshall.
Yeah.
You couldn't get the ball to anybody else. You had to throw it to Brandon Marshall 30 times a game. That's how it was with Megatron. Now that Matthew Stafford can throw the ball to 6 other receivers, he has options.
Yeah. I hate it for him though. They always look good. They had a few rough years, but then they looked good.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing we got to go through every year. We're gonna get it one year. and then we're gonna go in like 0-36.
It seems like you guys are cursed.
It's a curse, but then again, the Cubs were cursed.
They found a way.
They found a way.
Definitely possible.
Now, when the Lions win, that's when that world is gonna end.
Yeah, they gonna win the Super Bowl. The world just explodes.
Yeah, that's how it's gonna go. That's it's either that or the Redskins.
I don't see the Redskins. The Washington football team.
Yeah.
I don't see that happening.
Me neither. That's all bad.
But yo, bro, I appreciate you pulling up. I hope that people watch this and at least consider trades.
Oh, me too.
I definitely want to have you back because people need to hear more about this.
And if anybody has any questions or anything like that, they can reach out to you. They can reach out to me, and we'll have another episode maybe. And
yeah, we'll definitely do another one because we got to follow up. People need to hear about this. I'm excited to see the reception that this video gets because trades, at least consider it.
Yeah.
At least consider it.
I'm excited.
But yeah, man, I appreciate you pulling up. It's been great.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem, bro. Peace.
See ya.